Okay, good evening. I'm going to call to order the Board of Education meeting for District 91. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Lyons? Ms. Vallow?
Here.
Mr. Brooks?
Here.
Mr. Rummel?
Here.
Ms. Cotton? Here. Ms. Wood? Here. Ms. Tyler?
Here, thank you. For anyone who'd like to participate, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Uh-oh. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our mission in partnership with Home and Community is to educate each individual child in a safe and nurturing environment. We will foster respect, self-worth, teach skills relevant to contemporary life, to promote academic success and creative expression. We will encourage the appreciation of rich culture, diversity in our community. We will instill a sense of wonder for the future to enable our students to become lifelong learners, responsible citizens of the world. I also remember what. Thank you. Forest Park Public School District 91
will be acknowledged by all
as a safe and nurturing
and diverse learning community
that establishes the highest standards for innovation
and continuous improvement to achieve excellence
and global citizenship for each individual child. Recognizing the systemic bias that has plagued our educational system, we commit to nurturing dialogue around all issues of inequity, including culture, race, faith, socio-economic status, gender identity, sexual orientation, and different ability, as they pertain to classroom practices, school and school district structures, and policies and procedures. We support actions removing barriers to opportunities that will allow children to reach their full potential.
Okay, thank you so much to the Forest Park News Media team for putting together those animations for us. Okay, number 4, honoring Native American land. Ms. Wood, please.
We, Forest Park Board of Education, would like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miamia, Sioux, and Kickapoo people, and pay our respect to elders both past and present.
Thank you. Number 5, consent agenda items. So for the board, is there anything that anyone would like taken off of the consent agenda? Okay. May I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. A roll call?
Ms. Vallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. Thank you. Consent agenda is approved. Number 6, any correspondence? No? Okay. All right. 7, matters of consideration from the public. I don't think we have. No? Okay. Seems like we don't have any. I'm going to just stare into the eyes of the audience. Does anyone have a public comment they'd like to make? Okay. Thank you. 8, superintendent's report. Dr. Alvarez, recognition.
Starting up with recognition, May 8th to May 12th, we are recognizing our D91 teachers. Without educators, we would be absent of so many important jobs and professions. The noble title of an educator is one that goes through additional schooling as well as works nights and sometimes weekends in preparation for our future, our children. Thank you for all you do. I would like to acknowledge all our 27 instructional assistants or paraprofessionals. Paraprofessional Appreciation Day is a special day dedicated to those who work in a classroom under a teacher's direction. These fantastic people deliver targeted support to students who may need extra help and work to maintain the classroom, keeping it running smoothly, and we just want to thank all of our D91 paraprofessionals. On April 26th, we get to celebrate National Administrative Professionals Day. Huge thank you to all our secretaries in each of our buildings as they tackle multiple jobs, coordinate information in order to support our district environment. And a thank you to our only assistant principal, Kevin Bacon, who supports our middle school, especially in his first year here at D91. I'd like to acknowledge Zoe Giddings and Nora Ernst for their Junior Division research exhibit, Race to the Moon, at the Chicago Metro History Fair. They were selected as a finalist for the Illinois State NHD competition in Springfield on April 22nd. Huge congratulations to Amelia Whitebone. She is the regional champ and headed to DC for the National Scripps Spelling Bee. We are so proud of her and what she has achieved. This is the first time for Forest Park and a huge deal. Moving on to our first priority, learning and achievement. I'm going to start with the 5 Essentials survey. The 5 Essentials is an evidence-based system designed to drive improvement in schools nationwide. It reliably measures changes in a school organization through the 5 Essentials survey and provides individualized, actionable reports for each school. The 5 Essentials survey identifies 5 indicators that lead to improved outcomes for all students, including improved attendance and larger test score gains. The 5 indicators that positively affect school success are effective leaders, collaborative teachers, involved families, supportive environments, ambitious instruction. Research derived from the 5 Essentials for school success has proven that schools strong on at least 3 of the 5 Essentials are 10 times more likely to improve student outcomes. Oops, that's not it there. For our student response and survey, we have Field Stevenson at 100%, Forest Park Middle School at 97%. For our teacher response rate, for Betsy Ross, 83%. For Field Stevenson, 63%. For Forest Park Middle School, 89%. And for Garfield, 100%. For our parent component of the survey, Betsy Ross, 76%. Field Stevenson, 56%. Forest Park Middle School, 28%. And Garfield, 38%. So I wanted to make sure we all got the percentages. Moving on to IAR testing. The Illinois Assessment of Readiness assesses progress of students in grades 3 to 8 in meeting the Illinois learning standards in English language arts and mathematics. Forest Park started IAR testing on April 5th and it will run until April 21st. Each performance level is defined by a range of overall scale scores for the assessment. IAR scale scores range from 650 to 850 for all tests. Additionally, IAR English Language Arts Literacy Reports provide separate scale scores for both reading and writing. IAR reading scale scores range from 10 to 90, and IAR writing scale scores range from 10 to 60. I provided an example there to show that there's 5 performance labels for the Illinois Assessment of Readiness. Level 5 shows exceeded expectations. Level 4 met expectations. Level 3 approached expectations. Level 2 partially met expectations. And Level 1 did not yet meet expectations. Students performing at levels 4 and 5 met or exceeded expectations. They have demonstrated readiness for the next grade level and ultimately are likely on track for college and career readiness. Language arts. Do I have it here? The IAR describes readiness in 5 areas of reading and writing, that's language arts, by placing your child's performance at either higher, middle, lower level of the range for each area. Students who are ready in these 5 areas are successfully doing the following: literacy text, which is reading and analyzing fiction, drama, and poetry; written expression, which is composing well-developed writing from what students have read; informational text, reading and analyzing nonfiction, history, science, and the arts; knowledge and the use of language conventions, composing writing using the rules of standard English; and vocabulary, using experience, context, and analysis to determine what words mean; and they are divided up between medium, high, and low. For math, the IR describes readiness in 4 areas by placing your child's performance at either higher, middle, lower level of the range for each area. Students who are ready in these 4 areas are successfully doing the following: major content, solving problems involving proportional relationships, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing with rational numbers and linear expressions, equations, and inequalities. Expressing mathematical reasoning, creating and justifying logical mathematical solutions, and analyzing and correcting the reasoning of others. Additional supporting content, solving problems involving circumference, area, surface, volume, statistics, and probability. Modeling applications, solving real-world problems, representing and solving problems with symbols, reasoning quantitatively and strategically using appropriate tools. And these as well are signified with high, medium, and low. Any questions regarding IER?
Can you remind us when the results come back? Is it October?
Yeah, it's usually the beginning of October or somewhere around October. That's why we moved the state of the district so late, because we wanted to have those results.
Got it. And I think we're done, save for tomorrow being like a makeup day, right?
We have it all the way up to the 21st, so
okay.
there's a couple of makeup days in there.
Okay. What I will say is that I appreciate it. I felt like there was really good communication around when testing was happening, a reminder to like have a good breakfast. We provided a snack for kids in the morning, a robocall, like all of those ways I thought were really important. So I appreciate the communication.
Question: remind me when the testing results come out? Do they break it down by each level where it's?
They do.
So they do like literacy. They'll tell you which they scored in each
The
one.
low, high, medium.
Okay.
Real quick, I know we don't get the results till next October. Do we have any idea how we did before then, or it just takes the state that long to collate
we
this
did
and get
last
back
year?
to? Yeah.
I presented it at the state of the district, so I could provide those again.
No, I just for the current round of testing, you said we're not going to have them till October.
Correct.
That's just because the state of Illinois, it takes them that long to collate all the stuff and get it back to us? Okay, Thank you.
And just keep in mind that IAR, right now, Illinois State Board is going to be choosing another assessment test. As of right now, IAR is supposed to be done, but we're going for another year of IAR. Yeah, because it expired, our contract with them, with the state. Yeah, with the state. I don't have my STEAM update on there, but I have it here. The STEAM Program Committee identified Project Lead the Way as the preferred primary curriculum resource for our STEAM classes in the 23-24 school year. The committee members are Kelly Duell, Grace Finn, Ellie Hirsch, Emily Morell, and Suzanne Motto. Project Lead the Way has a 3 to 5 program called PLTW Launch and a 6 through 8 program called PLTW Gateway. As a discussion item, Director Edler will go into further detail regarding the work that was completed to support this recommendation. Priority number 2, family and community engagement. Registration. We started registration last week, as well as a request for transportation. Forest Park Public Schools processes all student registrations electronically utilizing the Infinite Campus portal for online registration. You will find it on our website. Registration can be assessed in our student information system, Infinite Campus. Please remember all students must be registered each year, and parents, guardians must verify identity and residency. Any questions about registration? Okay. Spring Fling. We are so happy to announce the return of the Forest Park PTO Spring Fling. Our indoor block party themed Spring Fling is scheduled for Friday, April 21st, and we're excited to host a district-wide raffle for our students and families. We're going to have prizes from our community and business leaders and the PTO, but we wanted to offer the staff a chance to get in on the teacher raffle for the students and families. In the past, the teacher raffle has included donated prizes for the raffle, an example, craft baskets, lunch with the teacher, gift cards, toys, books, and movies. Some staff members have even gone in on a group gift and done bigger items like a bike or a scooter. Grant, they're trying to get in more here. Sorry about that. And then families can view the available items and purchase tickets through the forum. Only one of the activities we have planned for the event is a treat trot, similar to a cakewalk. If you have any interest in donating treats or baked goods, please reach out to the PTO to coordinate. After school program showcase. On April 27th, we will have dance performances and showcase some of our robots and multimedia work to highlight our students and what they accomplished after school. Please join us at 6:30 p.m. April 27th. Our bullying workshop. On March 28th, in partnership with the PTO, we provided an interactive workshop for parents and guardians regarding how to talk to your children about bullying. This consisted of role-playing and sharing of ideas and strategies to prevent bullying behavior. This was presented by Maggie Munoz from Chiron Education Group. Any questions about that? Okay. Moving on to our third priority, talent recruitment and development, interviews. We have interviewed for the Assistant Director of Student Services, Secretary for Field Stevenson, and we are about to begin STEAM positions. We'll have final decisions within the final weeks. And then summer school teachers, we are in need of summer school teachers. If you know of anyone interested, please direct them to our website or email Director McHale at dmekhil@fpsd91. And FOIA. We've had 4 of them. The first one came from Adam Zilzer. He was requesting records regarding the board's votes on IASB resolutions over the past 5 years from 2018 to 2022. For reference, he is a professor at the University of Chicago, and this is part of a research project, not for commercial or other purposes. Second one was Smart Procure, asking for purchasing records from 10/19/2022 to the current request date, and request details that were asked for that. And then the third was Melinda C. at finishingchicago.com. She was asking for bid tabulations, name of awarded general contractor list of subcontractors performing painting, drywall finishing, glazing, and signage for Forest Park School District 91 STEAM Lab renovation, project number 220240, but we have not started that. And the last one came from Janie Jordan. She requested access to and a copy of a listing of all Forest Park School District 91's employees' first and last names, email addresses, title, position, and primary campus department location. This is something that we get every year that's requested. And those were the 4 FOIAs.
Got it. Thank you for that. All right, let's move into committee reports. So the first one is teacher negotiations. I don't think either myself or Mr. Rum will have one. We're not in negotiations. The board policy.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. See, finance. We didn't do a quarter meeting for quarter 3, but Dr. Hubbard's going to be speaking up about finance updates during his items a little bit later. So we're all set. No new changes, really. All right. D, engagement.
We don't have a long report. We're just going to encourage everybody to hop on the calendar and see what's going on this spring. We've got a super busy spring. Spring Fling is a great opportunity for everybody to get engaged. It's such a fun, I miss the Spring Fling. It is amazing and wonderful, and everybody should go to it. Other than that, we don't really have anything.
I do want to plug our app, which is great about dates. There's so much happening at the end of the school year, culminating in graduation on June 5th. And so end of year arts concerts and all sorts of stuff. I really want to encourage everybody to make good use of our app so that we can stay on top of it and support our students. Spring Fling is a great way to do that. Okay, superintendent evaluation.
excuse me, we did complete Dr. Alvarez's evaluation. To sum it up for everybody, there are 8 categories. What?
Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, I was thinking about something.
Okay, that's fine. There were 8 categories: district leadership and vision, instructional leadership, governance, policy, and board relations, culture, climate, and community engagement, staff management and relationships, business and finance management, professionalism and ethics, and then progress toward cognitive, interpersonal, and interpersonal goals. And within those, there are 4 scores you can get. It's either a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 would be below standard, developing, proficient, or exemplary. Each board member completed our own, and we came together and did an average. Do we do like a drum roll for the Dr. Alvarez's score this year was 3.521. So yes, what else to say about that? We all took a lot of time. It was very thoughtful. This is not something we rushed through. We discussed together the scores we gave and why. Yes, I think that's it. Yeah.
PPC.
All right. At our March meeting, we had a number of things that we talked about. We covered some stipend issues for some new clubs that are going to be coming on. We discussed making some information disbursement a little bit clearer to the district and to district employees. Talked about building temperatures and some leaks and just like maintenance concerns, which is just pretty standard practice for us. We talked through some curriculum changes in schedule and planning and when teachers are going to know what their schedules are and what their minutes are for next year. Other than that, we've got to keep some of the other stuff not out there in the world. We, wondered if there were any new hires. There are no new hires as of right now, and that covers PPC.
I'm curious about some of the maintenance. I know heating, I'm surprised about leaks,
Yeah, there's just leaky pipes.
leaky pipes.
It's just leaky pipes in places, and most of the concern is, do we continue to submit formal maintenance requests, or do we go to a different avenue and it was continue to support or to submit maintenance requests in the standard avenue that we've been doing it?
Yeah, where is it?
The buildings were, do you remember which buildings they were in? I think Betsy's got some. Okay, all right, I could be,
Okay.
yeah. And it wasn't anything, it was just more, again, it was more like, what are the avenues to take? Are we taking the correct path to get these things fixed?
Okay,
So,
got it. Thank you. All right, CAC.
With the CAC, we've been holding the community meetings. Last night was the one at the middle school. It seemed to be pretty well attended, where we're just gathering community feedback, asking various questions to get ready to present our recommendations to the board. We've also still been doing the one-on-one meetings. They conducted the teacher meetings where teacher and staff meetings, so we have that going on. Still going through the handbook, trying to get those updated. I'm leaving something out. Yeah, so we're still going that. We're going to be presenting to the board pretty soon once we gather all that information, and that'll be to come. We're doing that in the May meeting. But Betsy Ross community meeting is coming up on Monday, and once we gather that information, we'll present it to the board, and then the board will take it from there.
Any themes that you all can share?
Not yet, because we're not done with all the meetings yet.
That's fair, if we still have one.
yeah, so we still
I
have
don't
one,
want
so
to,
it's-
you're right,
yeah.
you're right. Okay. I do want to talk about it, but you're right. Okay. I'm going to move right on. Okay, IASB delegate. Sure. I'll repeat the question, Jason. Or do you, I'll repeat it. So the question from Nudie Zucheta Ramos, our Family and Community Engagement Manager, who is in charge of the Citizens Advisory Committee, was wondering if the board was wanted the CAC to present at a board meeting on a regular schedule or hold a special meeting. Last year we did a special meeting, I think. So remind me of the timing. Late May? No.
So it should be ready by next month. So if you all, like, it would just be a matter of, do we need to prepare for the May meeting, or do we have the ability to meet maybe the week after at a special meeting when the CAC typically meets a week after the board meeting? We could use the committee time and have that be a special board meeting, but I'm not sure what the board availability is going to be to attend a meeting at that time.
Yeah. So I'd like to figure out, because we do have a special reorg meeting May 1 already. And then we've got our May meeting. And Ms. Barnes, maybe you could help us try to figure out a viable date and also put the date of their meeting date for the committee as one of the options, like as a highlight. It would be great if we could sync those two up, but we'll have to see. And we'll have our new board member officially on at that time as well, so.
And as a reminder, we did present virtually last year, and I know the members would appreciate if they had that opportunity. Otherwise, we can figure out some representatives to come in person if that's needed.
Do you all typically meet virtually? Yes, you do? Okay. All right, so I think that's something that we can definitely consider. That gives us a lot more flexibility.
Thank you.
Yes. Can I ask one more question? How many people do we think will be presenting?
The committee is 13 members, but it'll be a few folks presenting. Not everybody will speak, but hoping everyone will attend for like the question and answer. I know last year you asked about the experience and stuff like that. You all didn't just stick to the recommendations part, but you talked about like the process in itself, as the leaders in that committee shared their feedback of the process. But it'll likely be certain people having slides and sharing out. Our meeting is next week, so I just want to give them an idea of when you all are able to hear the recommendations.
Yeah, okay. I think Ms. Bournes will help support us in finding a date, so thank you for that. Okay, number 10, items for discussion. Dr. Hubbard, you want to come on up and talk about the budget resolution for transfer of funds? I'm sorry, budget resolution.
Good evening. It's a little warm in here, but hopefully y'all doing okay today. Got a couple things I want to talk about and share with some things for some action items later on. The first one is the budget resolution. If you recall, earlier this year I shared that we may have to do a budget amendment because one of our accounts was over by the 5% threshold. Could you do the next slide, Dr. Alvarez? So according to section 17, 1-5, we can't go over 5% each year in a particular account. And if we do, we have two options. One is to amend the budget, which is a very long and drawn-out process, or if we can transfer the funds within that same fund, which is our education fund, and if it's less than 10%, we can make that move. And we're only looking to move $48,000, which is less than 10% of our overall budget. So the recommendation is that we go forward with the option of doing the resolution. And on the next slide, it shows you looking to take funds from salary, benefits, travel, tuition, and technology offered out of the admin account and transfer it into instruction account. So moving that $48,000 into instruction so we could purchase some curriculum items. If we make that move and it stays within the education fund, we get below the 5% threshold that we need to be below. So that is going to be the request later on in the recommendation after the board to approve that. Any questions?
Okay.
The next item is sharing with you the Q3 financial report and going over the finances for Q3. As you know, the state has slowly been paying out our revenue sources. We did get some money. We're up to 67% of our revenue so far, which is good. Normally, we're around 85, 90% around this time. But when I talked to the township, they said that by the end of April, we should have a majority of our funding. It's slowly coming in, but they're expected to be here before the end of the month, and they'll load it into our account. So we're on track to get our money, so that's a very good thing. The only bad thing is they're talking about delaying next year's installments too, now maybe pushing those back to October, but we should be fine. The next slide shows what our expenditures are year to date. So far, we've only expended about 50% of our budget, which is, I think, really good. We're really keeping an eye on the budget and seeing where we're allocating funds and what are some resources we may not need anymore, and seeing how we could relocate those funds. So over the next couple months, we'd see what our expenditures will look like coming in, because we do have some big things coming in the next couple months, but we should be below our projected 100%. The next slide just shows where we are right now year over year. I know the board really likes to see how much we have in reserves if we got no more funds available, if we didn't get any more revenue coming through. So the blue bars there show you what was last year's, and the green one shows you this year. So in our education fund, last year around this time we had 15 months in reserve. Right now we have 12 months. A couple months less, but we're still only at 67% of our revenue received so far. O&M, 11 months last year. This year it's 8 months. Transportation, 28 months. This year it's 17. That's a huge difference, but we still haven't received most of our revenue, and coming through will be for transportation, our reimbursement that we get for that. And then our IMRF, it's about the same. Last year was 9 months. This year it's 8 months. So that really hasn't changed. The next slide shows the same information. I know people like see the same information different ways. One is the graph of the visual, and then here's the actual numbers, just breaking down what the funds are. And this is our projection saying, what if we got no more revenue moving forward? How would it be just for this year? And we know at the end of this month, we're going to get a nice chunk of change of our revenue being deposited into our account. So in May, I'll show you what that looks like when we get that new revenue coming in at the end of April. And those numbers will go up in the last column for how many months we have in reserves. And lastly, with that, the end of the financial reports, later on, be asking for a resolution authorizing us to prepare the annual budget for next year. That's an annual thing that we do each year, and that gives Dr. Alvarez and myself the authority to start putting together the budget and sharing draft budgets with the board moving forward. Also, asking the board to approve the schedule of specific dates for the review and adoption of next year's budget and the 2023 tax levy. That's an annual thing that we do each year. Nothing has changed in that calendar, just the year dates, and looking forward for the board to approve that later on this evening. Any questions? Yes, Mr. Ron.
Just briefly, excuse me. It looks to me like this is pretty consistent with past years. The state of Illinois, delays notwithstanding, they seem a little worse this year, but it's not really impacting us much.
It is not. I was at a meeting a couple days ago, and there was 2 districts that were extremely concerned because they've been borrowing for like the past 6 months, and the interest rate they've been paying is outrageous, and they don't know what they're going to do moving forward. So they're really pushing on the state to give them the money. But we're fortunate enough that we don't have that issue right now.
So just to be real clear and draw a line under that, the fact that we keep large reserves on hand for things like this and managing cash flow because we're aware of this,
Yes.
That's what we do that for.
Yes, and if you recall, I shared in one of the newsletters that they're looking to pass a bill, it hasn't passed yet, but to have schools not have such large reserves, and some districts are concerned about that. The bill has been amended. I believe in the upcoming newsletter, I put the new amendment in there. Before it was you could only have 250 days in reserves. And now they've changed it to an average of 3 years, which is much better. So that bill's still going to the House, so it may get amended again when it's in the House. But it has been amended once, so we'll see where that bill ends up. But it does seem like it has enough votes to push through. We just don't know how it's going to be pushed through. So a lot of school districts are watching that bill and keeping an eye on it to see what the end bill will say.
Since you raised it, I'm going to ask, did you have, when you were having those conversations, did they mention, okay, we're going to take away, we want to take away the ability of the school to maintain such high reserves, but we're going to write into law that the state is actually going to fund us on time? Is that part of the bill?
That is not part of the bill.
Sorry, that was a silly question, but
Yes.
Do you remember who's sponsoring that?
I do not, but I can look it up, who's sponsoring it. I put it in the next update who's sponsoring it. It's 2 individuals that are pushing that bill.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Mr. Edler, STEAM Program Committee and recommendations.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you the STEAM Committee's process for identifying and recommendation for a STEAM program. Pardon me. These are the committee members as recognized earlier by Dr. Alvarez. It was fantastic to work with this group. You can see that they represent teachers from across the district, from primary, intermediate, and middle school. They took this process very seriously, asked difficult questions, influenced not only the recommendation, but as well as the implementation as we move forward with our STEAM program. I also do want to thank Dr. Alvarez and Dr. Hubbard and the board for their vision to bring world-class learning opportunities for our students by making STEAM a priority for the district. And I want to extend a special thanks to Ms. Terrell, who co-chaired this committee with me and coordinated all of the site visits, which presented a number of challenges, getting districts to commit on days when our committee members were also available. She provided some excellent leadership and was an invaluable thought partner. I also want to thank the principals for their flexibility and staff that provided coverage for our committee members when they were out of their classrooms to serve the district in this capacity. These are the 5 programs that we reviewed as a part of this process: STEM Scopes, Project Lead the Way, WAS Ed, TinkerWorks, and STEM Fuse. So the program evaluation included 2 phases, an internal review as well as external site visits. At our first committee meeting, we generated a list of expectations that we had for a quality STEAM program. That list was then categorized into these 5 broad categories. Each one of these were then further articulated into 1 or 2 elements. For example, intellectually engaging included both rich learning experiences as well as student collaboration. The rubric language, if you choose to click on that rubric, feel free, was developed by myself and Ms. Terrell based on a number of research-based resources and frameworks. The committee then conducted an analysis of any and all of the resources that were shared with us by each of the vendors. We collected evidence to rate each one of the programs relative to these criteria-based rubrics. Ms. Terrell and I then adapted the True Observation Framework tool that you may recognize from our core visits to guide our external site visits, where the committee collected evidence of student experience at each one of these districts listed here, and the respective programs that they use. We looked for evidence of cognitive demand, agency, authority, and identity, equitable access to content, and the use of assessment and feedback. The committee then convened to debrief on all of those site visits and rate each one of these programs using a consensus building protocol. It was a protocol that was actually brought to us through our partnership with MCMI. What I really appreciated about this protocol is that it doesn't require all of the committee members to necessarily unanimously agree on one program. Rather, it offers a scale upon which to consider not only the preference of the individual, but it also acknowledges the thoughts and ideas of other committee members. Okay, so as you've clicked on the results, using this protocol, we were able to eliminate any of the programs that had a committee member who did not agree with that particular decision. So you can see, like, for example, any of them that have purple, it was rated as a 5. I do not agree with this decision. I feel we need to explore other options. So any of the programs that had any committee member rank that as a 5, that was automatically eliminated. And then if you scroll back to the top, you can see that we really narrowed it down to either WASED or Project Lead the Way. And just given the responses here, as well as a thorough discussion of all of the pros and cons of each one of these programs, the committee then did decide on Project Lead the Way. On the next slide, you're going to see some of the highlights of Project Lead the Way and why it was so impressive and why it was selected. Very student-centered and focused on collaborative problem solving. Out of all of them, it was very clear that this is the one that really inspired students to collaboratively problem solve more than any of the other STEAM programs. Also, the teacher usability as well as the strong professional learning pathway. The committee felt it was really important as we bring in teachers to fill those STEAM positions that there is a really strong professional learning component to the program to support them in learning not only the content but also the instructional approaches that are necessary for our students to be able to have that experience and to be successful. Project Lead the Way also uses the 4C rubric of 21st century skills, critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity. Also, just a variety of relevant learning experiences, you know, beyond like computer programming. That was one of the things that we would see pretty much in all of these STEAM programs. Some of them were more focused on like that computer programming aspect of it than others. And then also the strong implementation support, and I can say out of all of them, the representatives from Project Lead the Way have been just absolutely fantastic and very responsive and supportive. Further, they also helped us as you click on the next slide to, we'll get to that I guess at the next one, but to also secure some grant funding potentially. And we will find out tomorrow if we're actually approved for that. So if we go back to that previous slide, I just wanted to, this is our 3-year implementation estimates. And as you begin to look at this, you're going to notice how we are implementing the modules from Project Lead the Way. Both the launch as well as the Gateway program have a whole list of modules from which we were able to look at, review, discuss, take some recommendations from the Project Lead the Way folks and how we might implement this over 3 years. And really starting off in that first year with some similar experiences for our 3-5 in the launch program as well as 6 through 8 in the Gateway program, and then building from there, adding in additional modules from one year to the next. So later in this evening, as an action item, we'll be asking for the board to approve just about $12,000 for our first year of implementation with this STEAM program. And that will provide students in 3rd grade through 5th grade the opportunities to engage in stability and motion, the science of flight. We have variation of traits and environmental changes, and then 6 through 8 would be flight in space. So students, you know, as they go through that and engage in that, they'll have a similar experience, but then we will build additional modules so that our 6th graders will, you know, engage in a different module as 7th graders and then another different module as 8th graders. Okay, and then lastly, as I said, tomorrow we should know whether or not we've been approved for some grant monies to support the implementation of Project Lead the Way. The total grant funding can go up to $23,000 depending on how many teachers we have engage in the professional learning. That's really the variable there. The more teachers we have take advantage of that professional learning opportunity, the more grant monies we would be utilizing to support that. And then the grant also will offset the cost for our registration or licensing fee annually, at least for the first 2 years. What isn't covered with the grant are any of the durables, as they call them, or the materials that we will need to support that learning with each one of those modules. Any questions?
I have a couple questions. Can you talk a little bit about how the committee was formed? I'm curious, do teachers apply? Do we think about people's skill set? How did it come together?
Will we put out a Google form and share that in a district newsletter and asked for teachers to complete that form of interest? And then we went about doing some additional recruiting.
Okay, thank you. And then for the schedule, fingers crossed we're going to be on time with construction. Will we do sort of a schedule assuming that everything is ready, and then maybe like a fallback schedule in case there are construction delays? I'm just thinking about being proactive about.
Depending on which school, because Field Stevenson is going to be using it as a special.
Yep.
And so that could be, if it's not done, there could be easily putting in just another special, an extra time for it. And then in regards to middle, it'll also be like an Explorer to go in there too. So yeah, we would be able to pause it.
Okay. I will also say, as a college counselor, I'm super familiar with Project Lead the Way and have had a lot of high school students do it in their high school settings in really academically rich communities. So I'm really excited to see us institute Project Lead the Way. I've found that the 4 C's have been very true, as told through my students. They have found it to be collaborative, engage critical thinking skills, all those other 2 as well. So I'm really excited about this. Yeah. I'm good.
So I just thought of this based on Ms. Tyler's question. If for some reason there is a construction delay that we can't use the facilities right away at the beginning of the year, is there anything stopping us from, excuse me, using the curriculum and the instruction and things like that and just, okay, we can't use it in the STEAM lab, but we can still cover, we can still cover the material and get the students going on it?
Yeah, we wouldn't slow down that implementation part of it. If there were a delay, we would just have to make some modifications and be flexible with the space.
Thank you.
I just have a question with the curriculum. I know you said they'll have it where it builds onto each year. If there's students that come in that didn't get it the prior year, I'm assuming it's built in. If they missed a module, they'll still be able to pick it up. If we get a 4th grader didn't do the 3rd grade curriculum, they can still pick up from wherever the 4th graders are.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, the modules are not related in that way, although you will see, for example, the flight and space in the 3rd grade, as that then kind of repeats again in the Gateway program, but then extends that for 6th graders. So there is some ways that we can build on some of the learning, but it's not a prerequisite for engaging in any of the modules.
Just one more question. This is really premature, but if we have these great STEAM labs set up and this curriculum, is there any possibility of us down the road talking about a summer program or something like that? Yeah,
definitely. We'd like to include that as an offering for summer school moving forward, maybe selecting another module that would just be for summer school, for example. Yeah,
or maybe
that's an option.
Maybe to Monique's point, if we have a kid who comes in and missed space and they want that and we offer it in the summer, they could take it then.
I would love for us to maybe be able to consider, sorry, I'm writing this down because I have no memory. If we could maybe consider an open house and invite our community members in. I know that in my old district where I grew up, they instituted a STEAM lab, and my mom, who's decades out from having kids in the district, was really excited to go. And so I think if we can share this with the community, that would be excellent.
We plan on doing a ribbon ceremony.
Okay, that's great, thank you. The last thing I'll say is that to the audience, if this is new to you, and you haven't, this is the first time you're hearing about the STEAM Lab, it was a massive, and I'm not saying to you all in the audience, I'm saying just widely, if you're watching this and this is new information to you, you can look back to many meetings in the last like 12 months where we've talked about this, so you'll get a sense for how much it was, the approval process, the bid process. You can see the architect came in and talked about the design process. We ordered furniture, so all of this is there if you want to dig a little bit deeper. We really do encourage people to dig deeper. We're really excited about this. It's a significant investment, and it will mean, I think, something really different and innovative for our students. So we hope the community will look into it and share our excitement as well.
And so far, all of that has been kind of theoretical and conceptual, and this is the exciting part because we're finally getting to begin thinking about what will that student's experience be like.
And we get to hire teachers, which is really exciting. So, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So, may I have a motion to go into closed session for the purposes of the employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of employees?
I'll make it.
Second.
All approved? Actually, can we do a roll call just to be clear?
Ms. Fowler?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks? Aye. Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. Okay, great. We're in closed session.
This is Jeanette.
Okay, thank you so much for waiting. All right, let's get back into it. We are out of closed session into open session. Number 12, consent agenda items to discuss in closed session. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A second? Second. And a roll call, please.
Ms. Fallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. Thank you. Okay. Number 13. Possible action to non-renew employment of the Forest Park Middle School principal effective 6/30/2023. May I have a motion to non-renew the administrative contract and employment of Principal Darla Cass for the 2023-2024 school year as recommended by the administration?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Fallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. Number 14, consider adoption of proclamation honoring teachers for National Teacher Appreciation Day for 5/9/2023 and not 5/2/2023. It's just a small typo. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A second.
I'll second.
Discussion. I did skip over it. I'll come back to it. Sorry.
So we will be celebrating our teachers the second week of May, from May 8th to the 12th. And so the official day is May 9th for Teacher Appreciation.
Perfect. Any questions? Okay, sorry I skipped it, guys. We're gonna do a roll call vote, and then we'll go back to it. Yep. A roll call?
Ms. Fallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. I just realized I have something I can read. Let me do that. Hold on one second. All right. National Appreciation Teacher Day Proclamation, Tuesday, May 9, 2023. Whereas teachers make public schools great, and whereas teachers collaborate and amplify students' minds to further ideas, knowledge, and dreams, and whereas teachers keep American democracy alive by laying the foundation for good citizenship, and whereas teachers fill many roles as listeners, explorers, role models, motivators, mentors, and whereas teachers continue to influence us long after our school days are only memories. Now, therefore, I, Kira Tyler, serving as president of the Board of Education of Forest Park Schools, District 91, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, May 9, 2023, as National Teacher Appreciation Day. We observe this day by taking time to recognize and acknowledge the impact and power of an educator on our students' lives. All right, let's go back to 1, which is consider declaration of June 7, 2023 as the official school closing date for school year 2022-2023. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
That is our last day of school.
Wonderful.
June 7th. We'll be telling our children, have a safe summer, and our parents, and we'll see you back in August.
Very good. Let's do a roll call.
Ms. Fallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. All right. 3, Consider approval of the proposal for STEAM curriculum for Project Lead the Way for Year 1, $12,212. A motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call. Sorry, discussion.
Yeah, just really quick, just for this display that's up there, that is incorrect, and it is 12,212.
Any other questions, discussion? We can acknowledge the mistype on the slide. I'm going to say the figure one more time, though. $12,212. All right. Let's do a roll call vote.
Ms. Vallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rommel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. It's big, right? I'm excited for us. Okay, Dr. Hubbard's going to come up. We've got a recommendation to approve the transfer of $42,000 of budget authority from Function 2320, Executive Administration Services, and $6,000 from Function 2510 in Business Services in the Education Fund to Function 1100 Instructional Learning Materials in the Education Fund. A motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Oh, second.
Thanks, Catherine. A discussion.
Once again, as mentioned earlier, this is to bring down our percentage of administrative salary down and putting that money into our instructional supplies.
We good? Questions? Okay, roll call.
Ms. Vallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rommel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. Great. Recommendation to approve non-exclusive permit and indemnity agreement between Village of Forest Park and District 91 for block party celebration at Betsy Ross Elementary School on 6/7/2023, also known as the last day of school. A motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
This is Betsy Ross's request to celebrate the last day of school and have a block party. In order to close off the street, we have to do this agreement with the village.
Can we attend?
Yes.
Okay.
All are welcome to attend.
Great.
This is also the party of the year.
Oh, snap, excuse me. Okay, wonderful. Any other questions? All right, great. A roll call.
Ms. Vallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rommel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. It took Mr. Brooks a minute to say aye for the party of the year. Sorry, just an observation. 3, consider resolution authorizing the preparation of the FY 2023 annual budget.
2024.
Let me start again, sorry. Consider resolution authorizing the preparation of the FY 2024 annual budget. A motion, please.
I'll
So
make the
moved.
motion.
Second.
Discussion.
This is the annual request to allow Dr. Alvarez and myself to start planning the budget for next year.
We good? Questions? All right, let's go.
Ms. Vallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rommel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. 4, consider approval of proposed FY 2024 budget review/adoption and 2023 tax levy review/adoption schedule. A motion.
So moved.
I'll second. Discussion.
Our annual request to allow us to plan the budget and propose the calendar when we'll have it ready, and to start planning for the levy also.
I love the levy. Okay. Any questions?
All right, let's have a roll call, please. Ms. Fallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hubbard. Okay, 15 additional matters for consideration from the board. You have one? Okay, go ahead.
Just a reminder about the meeting, the community meeting at Betsy Ross on Monday at 6:30. Please come out and give your feedback. It's welcome to parents, community members, business owners. We want everyone to give your feedback to the CAC. This is what we're going to use again to give a recommendation for the board for how our school is going to go going forward. So again, please come out, give your feedback. It will be greatly appreciated, and it is desperately needed. Thank you.
Others? Excuse me, I always have some. Okay. All right, a couple of things. So first, we didn't mention the great power outage of 2023 at Field and at Middle, but I wanted to say a thank you to our school community in those buildings for being flexible and trusting the process around shifting over to Grant White. The middle school was in this building, and 2 classrooms across the hall. Field was upstairs. All kiddos were well taken care of. Staff had lunch catered in, and kids were back in the building by 1 at the latest, 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. And so I want to thank our maintenance crew for working so hard on getting this as up to speed as possible, as quickly as possible. I want to thank our teachers for being flexible in a really unusual, strange way to start the day. I want to thank our communication, family and engagement manager, Nudi Zucheta Ramos, for being as quick as possible. We also didn't have internet or phone in the district, so it was really complicated. So thank you to her for helping get the message out there. Our teachers supplemented as well. Thank you to our building principals for their leadership during this time. Thank you to our administrative team in the district office, Dr. Alvarez for her leadership, and the rest of the administrative team, from our front desk friends to our IT, to Dr. Hubbard, to, Mr. McHale, Mr. Elder, Dr. Elder, it was really a wonderful team effort. So if I left anybody, and our parents, I did leave 2 groups out. Our parents for trusting us to come up with a solution that kept their kids safe and informed. I hope that we did okay by you, and most importantly, our children, who are always at the heart of every decision that we make, and our goal was to keep them as safe as possible. I stayed. I dropped off at 7:50. I got out of my car. I went back home at 10 after 10 because I wanted to see what was happening. I went in the buildings. It was indeed really dark. It was not safe for our kids to be in there. And even though, our emergency measures did what they were supposed to in our building, still in some places it was really dark. We also didn't have any heat. So, to our kids for being brave and taking a chance with us, getting on the buses, not knowing exactly what was going to happen. We're really grateful for you always. You're wonderful young citizens, and we appreciate your flexibility. I also want to, I attended the meeting at middle school last night as a parent. And so I want to thank the CAC under the leadership of, again, Nudi Zucheta Ramos, for making that a safe space for us to have what I hope was honest and rich conversation from parents, community members. We had a couple of students, which was great. Staff was there, both building staff and district staff. So, I appreciate that our district is really We mean it when we say we want to be as transparent as possible, truly. So when there's an opportunity to show up, we're begging community members to please show up. It only helps us be as great as we know we can be, but we can't and don't want to do it without the participation of those who live here, send their kids here, send their kids elsewhere. It doesn't matter. If you're here, we want you to be a part of our process. And we talked about it very briefly. We will vote on it next month, but I want to acknowledge this was a really full meeting, that we're so grateful for Dr. Alvarez and her leadership. And, you know, it was a real pleasure to do your review and have rich conversation about the ways in which we see your leadership shine, a couple of areas for growth, and we just are really happy to have you here. It's almost 2 years. It'll be a full 2 years soon. So we're excited to see what our next couple of years look like with you leading us. I think that's it. Did you have something? Okay. All right. So, yeah.
I almost forgot. This is Catherine's last full meeting with us, and she tried to slink out without someone saying something.
Oh, no, dude. I got something planned for the 1st.
But this is your last full board meeting, so I want to officially thank you for being with us and your contributions and your wonderful self and everything. And what is your phrase? All the things and the humans and all your phrases. So I want to officially thank you. It's your last full board meeting, and I will have more things to say May 1st. And I'm going to make it awkward and weird because that's me. So
Bring
be ready.
it.
Be ready.
Thanks, babe. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We do. I'll say we have our new board member in the audience, Monica Angelo. We're so excited for you to join us. We're not kicking you out. I didn't say anything because I'm saving it. But so we're excited to reseat our board and see where we go. Okay. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I will make it.
Ooh.
Seconded.
Oh my gosh, all in favor?
Aye.
It is, it's embarrassing. 9:29, our meeting is adjourned.